Hello and welcome, this is AgentXP, and today we're going to do an author playthrough of my 4th TRLE, which is called Secrets of Babylon. Now this is a one-room challenge level with a twist. We were allowed to have as many trap rooms as we wanted, and we're also allowed a scenery room above and one water room. So gameplay can take place in the main room and the water room, but not in any of the trap rooms or in the ceiling area. So this game has an outfit choice. So we're going to choose Explorer for this video, and we're going to jump straight in here. So Lara starts off sliding down a slope into this area, and we straight away want to jump back onto the slope and jump straight off it to grab this crack. Shimmy around the corner. And then Lara has some new moves in this. We can press back and she will jump back off the shimmy crack, and then we can jump up and grab this jump switch. We are now able to access the main area of the level and take a look around. This is the best view of the level in my humble opinion. So take a look around, take in the ambience. You will see there an open trapdoor above. We are going to need to raise that because that is part of a monkey swing, and in order to complete the monkey swing the trapdoor needs to be shut. So that's the first thing we're going to take care of. Shoot the bars, claim the ammo, and oh, overhead, no, not yet. Okay, there will be a golden bird appearing very soon, so keep an eye out for him. I'm never quite sure when he spawns in. I don't think he is either, to be fair. Under the water we will see there are some nasty spike traps, so avoid those and pull the underwater lever. You have to time this very carefully, so I generally manage to do the timing okay. It does take a bit of practice, and patience is key. If you're too impatient with these traps, then you are likely to get squished. Swim behind the leaves and you will find a shotgun. And if I had had the spare triggers, I probably would have made that a secret. Unfortunately, I didn't have very many spare triggers in this level because of the competition rules. Take a look around, appreciate the underwater scenery, and then climb up. We will now hear the, whoops, wrong button, the pesky bird overhead, so we're going to draw our guns and dispose of him. Jump out of the way before he shoots us, because these birds have ranged attack. Now, although these are classic enemies, I felt like they went quite well with this Babylonian setting. So, as you look around here, and you can see all the Babylonian textures, I made these myself. This is a texture pack that I put together. So we look up here and we'll see this crack in the wall. You need to climb to the very highest bit of the floor and then jump up. Lara will not reach if you just stand in front of it. You have to go to the far right hand side to jump up on this crack. I know a few players were a bit flummoxed by that. Shimmy along here. And once again, we can use Lara's new ledge jump move to jump backwards and grab this opposite crack. Shimmy around the corner. And then we can pull up on this green ledge. And you will see also another new move involves swinging on these poles. So we have swing poles implemented in this level. So you swing along the poles and we can reach this ledge. Jump and grab to this next ledge so that Lara doesn't hit her head on the ceiling, and then we can do another running jump here to grab the other opposite ledge. And if you look above you, you will see some monkey bars. Now these are quite difficult to reach. You need to be right at the back of the ledge and jump straight up for Lara to grab the bars, and then we can shimmy along here. Now there's nothing on the opposite wall, so what we need to do is turn to the left and we can shimmy across the space where that trapdoor raised. That is what the two underwater levers did. Once again, there is a slight lack of camera hints in this level, and it's not this time due to me not appreciating the need for them after the last level. It is because I had a constrained number of objects I could work with in this level. So do the jump switch and this door opens. Jump over the hole in the floor very carefully because there are some spikes that raise, and we can jump and use these sloped ledges to reach a ladder at the top of the room. And as you see there, a skelly has woken up, so we're going to have to be very careful with him when we drop to the floor. He's going to try and attack us if we're not careful. Shimmy around the ladder, and then we can jump, turn in the air, and grab this wall switch. Immediately draw the shotgun. Whoops, missed me. roll out of the way there, and draw our shotgun, and we can knock him backwards. Oh no. It usually needs 2 shots. He doesn't usually go straight in the water. There we go. Blast him backwards into the water, and that's disposed of him. Right, now we have access to this other room. For this room, you want to look up. Everything in this room is up. And if we jump around the corner here, we can once again find the highest bit of sand on the floor and access the shimmy cracks in the pillars, which are all at this level. And we're going to have quite a bit of ledge jumping and shimmying to do here. So basically we want to use these shimmy and ledge jump moves to reach other areas in the room. Shimmy around the corner here. The raising blocks in this game look a little strange because they have no base surface to them, so I had to put a texture underneath them in order to avoid an ugly transparent tile, but this means when they're in a lowered position there are 2 overlapping textures, which looks a little glitchy unfortunately, and the vines there show that we are able to grab that side. And from here we want to pull up and stand on the highest point. You can see there's a jump switch on that pillar. But what we want to do is stand on the highest bit of this ledge and do a forward jump and grab to this ladder. And we can jump up this ladder, and from here we can reach the overhead monkey bar. If Lara fails to grab those monkey bars, what you need to do, and this happens quite often, is press back or down once and then press forward and she will climb up. I know it's stupid, I know going further down doesn't really make much sense to go up, but that's often what you have to do. Just tap the down once and then she will climb up to the bars. Right, we need to be really careful here. There's fire, and patience is the key here. Once again, be very careful you don't go too far forward. Stay off the fire tile and wait until the fire goes out and then go forwards. It's better to be patient than rush this. So wait until the fire has done a sequence and be very careful not to go too far forward. But then again, you can't go too far backwards either because she won't have enough time to clear the block. So we're going to pull the jump switch and drop down, and we managed to miss the fire, which is always good. And back in the water again. I really like these lily pad objects. They look very cool. Oh, no, we're going the wrong way there. So back in the water, and we need to find the place where the sand is high enough for us to climb on the pillars. So we're going to climb out of the water here. We're going to jump up to this ledge again. So what we have done there is we have raised a raising block which will allow us to access that other jump switch that you saw. So we're going to once again climb around these pillars. I really did try and make the most of Lara's new ledge jump move in this level. Shimmy around, and once we reach this jump switch, that will then open the door into the next area. Shimmy around from this green pillar, and now we can do a back jump onto the newly raised raisable block. Go around here, and we can then from here jump up and reach the jump switch. And in this room we want to be extremely careful. This is probably the most tedious room in the level because of the stupid hitbox that the spikes have. So you need to be very careful. Once again, patience is key here. Make sure you wait until the spikes are down before you jump. And also try and stay in the middle of the tiles. That's the best thing to do here. And it's better to be patient and make sure you jump when the spikes are down. If you land just as the spikes come up, you're likely to get impaled. Use the new ledge jump up move on the ladder to get over the crack. And we can backflip onto this platform, and here we will find a single torch. Once again, object limit here, I could only place one, so be extremely careful that you do not lose it. So make sure Lara's facing forward, and then you can toss it down to the ground level, and make sure it lands somewhere that you can actually pick it up, because if it doesn't, you need to reload, and that is very important, because if we lose that torch, we will not be able to access the final area of the level, or what will ultimately be the final area of the level, to reach the end trigger. You may think Lara is safe in this central area, but I have occasionally been stabbed through that fence, so take nothing for granted here. Make sure you stay on the middle of the tile. Jump across. Be very careful and take your time. Side jump here, and we land on the torch and we can pick it up. Nice! Now we need to take the torch back into the main room. Okay, run over here and we can light the torch, but oh no, I think we've got company. So drop it somewhere very safe. Make sure you don't lose that single torch, and we're going to go and deal with this other eagle. Otherwise he's going to be hassling us when we're going about our business, so we don't want that. The gun sounds in this game I really like. I got these from Lara Croft and the Guardian of Light, or rather somebody else got them and said I could have them. I forget who it was. Right, light this torch, but be very, very careful you do not step too far onto the tile. If you do, Lara will get burnt. There is water to put yourself out, but you don't really want to get burnt in the first place. Run on through the door that opened into a new area. I'm sure there's a skeleton here somewhere. Where is he? Oh, there he is. No! Ow! How rude. Okay, we're going to go over to the water, and you know the drill. We're going to do a backflip, and we're going to try and knock him into the water. He never goes in first time, he's stubborn. And a second shot is usually required to knock him backwards into the water. And now he will stop hassling us. That's good. So once again, we need to come to the highest point of the floor, do a forward jump and grab the shimmy crack. Shimmy to the right here, and pull up into an alcove, and we see what we came into this room for. We now have a revolver. So you may remember when we walked into the pillar room, there was a little swinging cyany coloured globe switch thing. Now we need to shoot that, but in order to do so, we need to find a laser sight. So we're going to need to head back into the water, dodge some more spikes, save our game just in case, and we'll swim on through into this new area. Behind the leaves we'll find a secret entrance. Swim up, and there is an underwater switch here, which is quite important. It opens a trapdoor into another area. And I was able to put a camera hint there by placing it in the upper room. We need to be mindful of Lara's air here, and we need to go take a breath before we do the next thing. So swim through the spikes again. Once again, timing and patience are very important there. Get some air, and the way I was able to get around placing the camera hint in the upper room is because the upper scenery room could contain extra objects, just no gameplay. So by placing a hint camera in the upper room, I was able to add the extra object and bypass the object limit that's permitted in a single room. Right, we come back to this area. Oh, Lara's got stuck. Do a roll. If she gets stuck there, do a roll underwater. That can help her to get unstuck. And we swim into this little gap in the rock, and we find the laser sight. And swim back out again. And Lara's air bar will be going down. That's why we do this in stages, because there is a real risk there that you can get stuck, so it's better to go back for air before attempting that. And there's one more thing we want to do in this underwater area before we go and use the laser sight. I'm just going to climb out. That will reset Lara's air bar quicker. Save the game again, because this can be a little tricky. And jump down here. We're going to get what would have been a secret if I'd had the spare object space. But I didn't, so it's not actually a secret, it's just an item. We are going to swim across the corner of this tile, just the corner, and trigger the boulder without getting run over, and that will destroy a vase, which will reveal some shotgun ammo, and that might come in handy later on, because there will be at least one more skelly in this level. Swim through here, and you will see a switch, and then we can swim through this tiny little gap, and we realise we are now back in the pillar room. Once you've been playing this a little while, you will realise that the underwater area is one big circle. You can go round and round in circles, accessing each area from a different side. And now we want to draw the revolver and combine it with the laser sight, and we can shoot that little switch. Now, there is a bug in this level that I kind of overlooked. That thing is triggered via a heavy trigger, which, the way heavy triggers work is they are also triggered by baddies and pushable items. And if you do this in a certain order, a baddie can trigger that switch accidentally, or if you move a pushable, which you can see in a minute, there will be a pushable, you can accidentally trigger that switch without shooting it. That is a bit of a bug. It's something I overlooked at the time, but I didn't get this level beta tested. All the testing on this level was done by myself. This is before the days when I used to get my stuff tested, so I kind of overlooked that. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. This is only a short level, and you can choose to do it in various orders. So we're cool with it, it's fine. If you want to trigger that switch in numerous ways, you can. Right, we see here there's a pushable, and we use the underwater switch to lower the block. So the underwater switch raises and lowers the blocks. So what we're going to want to do is get behind this pushable and move it off the blocks into the next empty space. And then we want to jump down and use this underwater switch again. And this alternates raising and lowering the blocks. So you can kind of guess here what needs to be done. So we need to use this switch several times, and it will enable us to move this sort of golden pushable. Oh no. That is an example of the crazy hitbox for these spikes. You need to be extremely careful. Even though they're down in a pit, you need to be very, very, very careful when you're jumping over these things. And even there I took a small bit of damage, which is not very cool. I do apologise for the hitbox of those spikes. It is stupid. Okay, jump to the back. And if you press action from a certain place, Lara will step behind the pushable quite nicely there. And she does it more easily from one side than from the other. I think it's from the left side of the pushable. She will step into place more easily. So once again, press action, and Lara moves and grabs the pushable, and we can push it forward, push it off that tile. And now we need to use the switch one more time in order to reset the raising blocks, and then we will be able to move the pushable out of this room. I quite like the idea of that puzzle. It's quite simple yet effective. I just wish I hadn't put the spikes there. The spikes make it a little more tedious than it needs to be in hindsight, but having the spike pit there was a way of having some plant detail, because I didn't have space to place plants in this room, but by having a lower room I could place the plants in the trap room and have some sort of detailing in here. That's partly why I did it, I think, for scenery as well as a trap. And we can now pull the golden pushable into this main room. And if you hadn't already triggered that switch up on the ceiling, pushing this pushable over the tile would cause it to trigger. So you can choose whether or not you want to do it the way I intended to do it, by getting the laser sight. I provided the option to do that, but if you want to just trigger it this way, it's fine, you can do that. Be a rebel. Now once again in this level, I seem to have gone against my conventions for having long pushable puzzles. What I really should have done in hindsight is had a slight raised lip into the other main room, because you can take this pushable into the main pool room, and you're not meant to. But I saw a couple of people do that and get quite confused. So in hindsight, I really should have stopped players from being able to move it in there, because it's not meant to go in there. So while we do this long pushable, I'm going to talk about the textures a little. So as I mentioned earlier, I compiled this texture set. The signature blue Babylonian style textures were customized by me. I mainly got them off the internet, and I took these sort of distinctive Babylonian type animal shapes and soldier shapes, and I put them all on the same background blue brick so that they all look consistent and they can be used together so that they all match nicely. And I then combined these with numerous other textures. So the floor tiles were from Tomb Raider Anniversary Manor. I felt like they were kind of underused because they're Manor textures. People tend to relegate them to use in Manor style levels, but I feel like they go with a temple environment quite nicely. Also the blue and white mosaic style textures, they are from Tomb Raider Legend Manor. They were found around the sort of pool areas. I've used a number of Horus's textures, so she released a desert texture pack and I'm using the sand from that. I'm also using her Eden Flowers pack, so I have the white large brick and the flower textures. Those are from her Eden Flowers pack. I am also using the Tomb Raider Anniversary style Greek pillars, and believe it or not, the leaves are Tomb Raider 3 leaf textures. They were originally 64-bit, but they tile rather nicely to make 128-bit, and I really like these leaf textures. They are very vibrant in their colour, so I tend to like to use those. Also, the brown brick textures were originally from a Tinos set, so you can see that I have pulled in textures from so many different genres to create this pack, but I feel like they all work quite well together and produce something distinctive. And while I've been talking to you about the textures, I've been leaping across the pillars to reach this switch. Now that we've positioned the pushable in place, we can use the two switches at the end of this room that you may have spotted earlier. There are two switches either side of the room in these alcoves. And you may have seen there that what the switches do is raise the blocks that were on the floor onto which we placed the pushable, and raising these blocks means that we can get the pushable to where it needs to go. And this is why we did not use the two switches until we'd moved the pushable, because if we had, we would have made more work for ourselves. I am now jumping to this pillar so that I can jump to the rope, and this is how we're going to reach the second switch, by using this rope. Now you can jump to the rope from the floor, but I tend to prefer jumping to it from the pillar. It's a little easier. If you want to reach it from the floor, you have to be stood in a very specific spot. And in order to reach this alcove, we need to build up a decent bit of momentum, because otherwise Lara is not going to reach the alcove. And if you want to stop Lara from moving side to side so that you can line her up more precisely, then you can climb to the very top of the rope. And then we want to build up as much momentum as we possibly can. And once Lara reaches her highest point, leap off and we should be able to grab the alcove. I failed there. I obviously didn't build up enough momentum, or I jumped at the wrong point. So we need to try that again, and the second time I'm not going to bother climbing up and straightening her, I'm just going to go for it. Partly because I think if you swing when Lara is moving slightly, then you can sometimes build up more momentum than you do if you start from a still position, if that makes sense. So build up as much momentum as you can, and yay! There we have it. We grabbed the alcove successfully, and we want to use the switch, and the second raising block will raise, and this will allow us to do something interesting with the pushable. And now we can once again do this whole jump up on the pillar, shimmy around. If we go right this time, we can reach the area where we have placed the pushable. And you can see now why I was moving it to that tile, because we're now in the position to move it forward. And once we do so, we want to immediately hop back, because something is about to happen. So push it in place, hop back, and there we go. A hammer swings down and breaks the pushable and reveals what was inside. It is half a ocular piece, or I think in this it's called the Talisman of Baal. So we have half of that talisman, and we now need to get the other half. So we're going to dive in the water, and we are going to do another quite difficult session Oh, no, I went too far there. That was stupid. I don't know why I did that. Reload. And you can see the fun that we have in store. Dive back in. I really did put a lot of spike traps in this level, and the underwater ones are probably the most challenging of them. Once again here the key is patience, and I just went for it too quickly again and died. We need to get Lara in the right position so her head is not sticking over the spikes, and then quickly swim forward to the safe tile. Oh, not again. You need to be mindful of the massive hitbox that these spikes have. Swim forward and sort of turn her one way or another so that she's right in the middle of the tile and her head and feet are not sticking over either end of the spike tile. I find turning her around and facing her into the wall is a good way of stopping her. We swim into this big room and we see in the middle there is a giant head enemy. There's also, right in front of us, an underwater switch, so pull that. And if we swim up into this alcove, we see yet another spike trap. So time your swim through it, and then you can pull the underwater lever. Once again, be very careful when you swim out. And oh no, our air bar is going down too far. We can't possibly time it through those spikes again. But fear not, swim towards this door and it will open. And if we swim through here, we will find ourselves back in the main area, and we are now able to surface and get some much needed air. And this provides a much quicker way back into the room with the head. So this baddie was from Tomb Raider Chronicles Rome, and I felt it was a nice touch having him in an underwater area. Pull this lever, and there is one more lever we need to pull. We will find that those 3 levers that we have just pulled caused this raising block to raise. And that raising block allows us to access this switch. Without the raising block in place, we would not have been able to pull that lever without getting shot by the big head dude. So pull that switch and we get a camera hint showing us a raising block has lowered in another area, revealing the other half of the Talisman of Baal. So swim back out and get some air. We can now hear the head dude randomly shooting at things. Now we will need to go and find that talisman piece. Now if you remember, the place in which we picked up the laser sight in this area, there was a lower area in the middle of the floor, and in the centre of that there is the other half of the Talisman of Baal. We now need to place the talisman in the room with all the spikes. Which one, you ask? There are spikes everywhere in this level, I know. So we swim up here and we return to the sort of sunny spike-tiled room at the end of this hallway. Once again, be very careful and patient here. Make sure you jump to the middle of the tile. Oh, I was a bit daring there. Went for it very quickly. You can sort of run forward from this block if you time it right and end up in the middle. If you step accidentally on any of these tiles, Lara will go into flames. And it's partly because I couldn't have any of the trap rooms accessible by Lara. I had to make them deadly as part of the competition. Combine the 2 talisman pieces and place them like so, and we will get a camera hint showing us that the underwater dude has exploded to reveal an artifact. So we want to make our way back to that room. Once again, time the spikes carefully. Oh, that was close. Like I said, if we step on any of the lower green tiles, even if the spikes are down, Lara will spontaneously combust. So be very careful, jump out of the room like so, and we can return to the underwater area and claim the artifact that dude was guarding. Swim through here and the artifact is glowing, so we want to pick it up and swim back out of the water. We now want to return to the area with the pillars because the end of the level is within sight. Climb out of the water, and we can now find the place in which we need to place that artifact. Go back to the pillar room, run around the corner, and we will see here a puzzle hole, which is waiting for the Star of Night. Place it, And if we wait a second, we will get a cutscene, and it shows that the time of day has now changed. The level has now changed to night time, and we get some cool music, which is from Lara Croft and the Temple of Osiris. The camera there shows an area from which a bull has just been released, but we will need his help for something here in a minute. And there we see the final artifact. And we need to avoid this skelly dude. He is actually quite a nuisance. We need to try and dispose of him because, oh no, the bull has come out to play. Ouch. Oh no. We're going to switch to the wide shot ammo, which is why we really need to ensure that we pick that up, so we have enough ammo to dispose of this dude, so he's not going to get in the way, because we need to get the bull to activate the switch for us. Because you saw there the final artifact, but it still had spikes guarding it. So what we need to do is get the bull to hit this switch, and that will turn off the spikes for us. Oh no, is he stuck in that room? We need to go and get him. He's being stubborn. Come on. Come through here. That's it. Into the room. Oh no, we jumped too soon there. That's a pain. Right, here we go again then. Ow! That was rude. Oh well, that's what medkits are for, I guess. Try again. And, there we go. We did it. We will get the camera hint telling us that the spikes are now deactivated. And once again, we need to find the highest point on this floor, do a forward and action, and Lara will jump up and grab it. The jump and grab option will not work there. You have to do forward and action, otherwise Lara won't jump and grab that ledge. Shimmy around as before, but there is a difference here. We can no longer use that shimmy trapdoor. It is not raised any longer, so we can't use the monkey bars to reach that central ledge. But now that the spikes are down, we can run and jump to the central pillar. If we go to this green ledge, we will notice the corner is higher for a reason. If we do a running jump from here, we can now reach the central pillar, and we can claim our prize, which is the Lunar Stone. And we will now get a flyby showing us that the exit to the level is now open and Lara can escape with her prize. Okay, I'll run out of the level and make our escape before the bull can chase us. And that is it. We have completed the level, and I forgot to look at my stats there, but I took about half an hour to play that, and there were no secrets in this level, partly due to the constraints of the competition, as I explained before. So, that was Secrets of Babylon. I hope you enjoyed. If you did enjoy this video, please consider leaving a like and subscribing. And if you do subscribe, do hit the little notification bell so that you see when I upload a new video, because that's how YouTube works at the moment. So, I hope you've enjoyed watching, and I will see you in the next video. This is Agent XP. Thank you for watching, and TTFN.